5 gardening tools, robbing you blind, and 5 worth the money. You've been lied to. Not by a con artist, not by some shady back alley salesman. You've been lied to by the very garden center you trust, by the glossy catalogs that show up in your mailbox, and by the well-meaning neighbor who swears that a particular gadget changed their life. Every single season, millions of gardeners walk into stores, spend hundreds of dollars, and drag home tools that do almost nothing. And the worst part? The tools that actually work, the ones that professionals rely on every single day, are usually the ones collecting dust on the bottom shelf. By the time you finish watching this, you will know exactly which 5 gardening tools are silently draining your wallet and which 5 are genuinely worth every penny you spend. We're going to separate the marketing from the reality, the gimmick from the genuine, and the tool that sounds incredible from the one that actually performs. And some of what you're about to hear will completely contradict what you already believe. Let's start with the biggest offender. Wasted money, number 1. The multi-tool cultivator set. Walk into any garden center and you'll see them. Those brightly colored sets of 5 or 6 mini hand tools bundled together in a mesh bag, usually priced between $15 and $30. They look adorable. They feel solid in the hand at the store, and the packaging promises you everything from aerating soil to planting bulbs to loosening weeds. Here's the truth that experienced gardeners figured out after one brutal season. Those tools are made from the cheapest possible steel. They bend under moderate pressure, the handles crack within weeks, and most of the specialized shapes perform the exact same function anyway. Horticultural researchers who study ergonomics and tool performance consistently find that these budget multi-tool sets create more hand fatigue and accomplish less work per hour than a single well-made hand trowel. You buy 6 tools and end up with 0 useful ones. That's not a bargain. That's a trap. Worth the money, number 1. A forged steel hand. Trowel. Now here's what you should buy instead. A single forged steel hand trowel from a reputable manufacturer. Not stamped steel, forged. The difference matters enormously. Forged steel is shaped under pressure, creating a denser, stronger molecular structure. Professional market gardeners and landscape designers will tell you that a quality forged trowel, properly cared for, lasts decades. Some gardeners use the same trowel for 30 years. Compare that to a 6-piece set you replace every spring, and the math becomes obvious instantly. Wasted money, number 2, specialty weeders with complex mechanisms. You've seen these. The twist and pull weeders, the foot press ejectors, the spring-loaded extractors that promise to remove weeds, roots, and all without bending. Garden tool marketing has turned weeding into an engineering problem it doesn't need to be. Independent lawn care professionals consistently report that these mechanical weeders work brilliantly on demonstration soil and fail spectacularly on real garden beds where roots are dense, ground is uneven, and weeds grow in clusters rather than politely one by one in open space. What happens is that you end up spending 3 times longer wrestling with the mechanism than you would have spent simply pulling the weed. And at $40 to $60 per gadget, you're paying a premium for frustration. Worth the money, number 2. A long-handled hoe with a sharp edge. Master gardeners, those who have earned the designation through hundreds of hours of study and practice, will almost universally point to the humble hoe as one of gardening's most underestimated tools. A sharp, long-handled hoe lets you eliminate weeds when they're still in the seedling stage with a single swift pass. You never bend, you never kneel, you never fight a mechanism. You simply walk the row before weeds establish real roots, and the garden stays clean. The key word is sharp. A hoe that cuts is one of the most efficient tools ever designed for a garden. A dull one is just a stick with a metal plate. Wasted money. 3. Automatic watering gadgets that do the work for you. This one is emotionally painful for a lot of people because the dream is so compelling. Set it up, walk away, come back to a thriving garden. spike-based self-watering devices, reservoir systems you bury in the soil, drip attachments for wine bottles. The gardening market is saturated with products that promise to replace judgment with convenience. Agricultural extension specialists at major universities have published repeated findings showing that these passive watering solutions almost never deliver water at the right rate for the right plant at the right soil depth. They work inconsistently depending on soil type, temperature, pot size, and sun exposure. You end up with overwatered roots rotting silently underground, or underwatered plants wilting between your supposed automatic refills. You also create a false sense of security that leads gardeners to stop actually observing their plants. And observation is where all real gardening skill lives. Worth the money, number 3. A quality soil moisture meter. Instead of automating watering incorrectly, understand your soil. A good soil moisture meter, not the cheap dial versions that fail within a month, but a calibrated probe style with a digital display, gives you real information in seconds. Master gardeners don't water on a schedule. They water based on what the soil actually tells them. A reliable moisture meter removes all guesswork, prevents both overwatering and underwatering, and costs a fraction of the fancy gadgets that never quite work. Once you start using one, you will never go back to the schedule-based approach again. Wasted money. 4. Battery-powered handheld tillers. Here is a product that sounds brilliant and performs disappointingly. Cordless handheld tillers, the ones that look like oversized corkscrews, are marketed as perfect for loosening soil in raised beds and containers. In practice, they are effective in exactly one scenario: extremely loose, perfectly prepared soil with no roots, rocks, or clay, which is to say, soil that doesn't need tilling. Professional vegetable farmers and raised bed specialists point out that aggressive mechanical tilling actually destroys the mycelial networks and soil structure that healthy garden beds depend on. The tool does damage where it manages to work and fails completely where you actually need it. You get the worst of both worlds. If you are a subscriber to this channel, you already know we go deep on the science behind healthy soil. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now. Because understanding your soil is the single highest leverage thing you can do for your garden, and we cover it regularly. Worth the money, number 4. A broadfork. This is the tool that serious no-till gardeners and market farmers consider essential. A broadfork is a two-handled tool with long, vertical tines that you push into the soil and rock back and forth to loosen it without inverting layers. It aerates without destroying structure. It reaches depths that hand tools cannot. It requires 0 electricity, 0 batteries, and 0 mechanical parts to fail. Soil scientists who study regenerative agriculture consistently point to minimal disturbance techniques as superior to aggressive tilling for long-term fertility, and the broadfork is the physical embodiment of that philosophy. Wasted money, number 5. Pruning tools sold. In kits, you already see the pattern forming. Kits are almost always a red flag. Pruning kit bundles, typically including loppers, pruning shears, a folding saw, and hedge shears all together, seem like a complete solution. What they actually deliver is a complete set of mediocre tools with mismatched quality, cheap pivot points that loosen over time, and blades that dull faster than you can believe. Arborists and professional pruners who work trees and shrubs daily will tell you that a bad pruning cut, the kind made by a tool that compresses instead of cuts cleanly, damages plant tissue and creates entry points for disease. Bad tools don't just waste money, they actively harm your garden. Worth the money, number 5. A single pair of premium bypass pruners. One exceptional pair of bypass pruning shears will outperform an entire kit of mediocre tools. Bypass pruners, where 2 blades pass each other like scissors rather than meeting like an anvil, create clean, precise cuts that heal quickly. Premium models from established manufacturers feature replaceable blades, adjustable tension, and high-carbon steel that holds an edge through seasons of real use. Professional orchardists and garden designers use the same pair of pruners for years, sharpening and maintaining them as precision instruments. That is what they are. Here is the larger truth hiding behind all 10 of these tools. The gardening industry makes significantly more money selling you novelty than selling you mastery. Every new season brings new gadgets, new promises, and new reasons to believe that this year's purchase will finally solve last year's problems. But the gardeners who actually produce the most beautiful, most abundant, most resilient gardens are almost never the ones with the most tools. They are the ones who have learned a few excellent tools deeply and use them with skill and intention. The tools that rob you blind all share one quality. They replace your engagement with a shortcut that doesn't actually work. The tools worth the money share a different quality. They extend your capability rather than substitute for your presence. Think about the tools currently in your shed, not how much they cost. Ask yourself whether they make you a better gardener or just a more optimistic shopper.